Your coaching business is taking shape, but then the big question hits. Do you build your brand around your name or do you create a company brand? This decision feels huge, doesn't it? Because it's not just about a name, it's about how your brand represents you and connects with your audience. And here's the good news. There's no wrong choice. It's all about choosing the option that feels true to you. Today, we'll break down personal branding values versus company branding so that you can make a decision that aligns with your goals and helps you stay authentic in your business. So let's dive in. Welcome, coaches. I'm Jackie Appleby, online business manager, business coach, and your guide on this journey towards not just building a successful coaching business, but creating a transformative one. You want to grow your coaching business while leading your best life, and I share tips, tricks, and strategies to make that dream achievable. With years of experience in the coaching industry, I've helped countless coaches transition from being overwhelmed and chaotic to calm and thriving using my Coach to CEO framework. So if you feel like it's time to fish or cut bait, you are in the right place, my friend. All right, so branding is about so much more than just having a nice logo or a catchy tagline. At its core, your brand is how people perceive and experience your business. It's the vibe, the values, and the promise you're making to your audience. For coaches, this is even more important because your business is often a reflection of you. Your clients aren't just buying a program or a service, they're investing in you as a person, in your expertise, and in your ability to help them create transformation. And that's why the question of branding, whether to go with a personal brand or a company brand, can feel so heavy. This decision shapes the way people connect with your business and how they see you as a coach. But here's the thing, branding isn't just about appealing to others, it's also about creating something that feels right for you. If your brand doesn't align with who you are and how you want to show up in your business, it'll feel like you're wearing shoes that don't fit. They might look great, but eventually they'll pinch, and you'll be desperate to take them off. Branding also isn't static. It grows and evolves with you. When I first started my business, I called it Diligent Assistant. It reflected my core values of diligence and worked perfectly when I was supporting a variety of businesses as a VA. As I honed my niche and transitioned into online business management, the name still worked, especially as consulting became a bigger part of what I offered. Diligent Assistant has continued to serve as a strong foundation for my business. But as I expanded into coaching and guiding clients through new programs, I realized that I needed something that reflected this next phase. And that's when I introduced a sub-brand, Coach to CEO, from Diligent Assistant. Coach to CEO builds on the trust and recognition I've already established with Diligent Assistant, while allowing me to offer more tailored solutions for coaches who are ready to grow. This transition has shown me how important it is for your brand to reflect not just who you are today, but also who you're becoming. Now, I'll be the first to admit, it's not always easy to plan for the future when you're just starting out. When I launched my business, I couldn't have imagined exactly where it would lead me or how my brand would need to evolve. But even if you don't have a clear picture of what's ahead, it's worth thinking about how flexible your branding can be as you grow. The more aligned your brand feels with your values and long-term vision, the easier it is to adapt and stay authentic as your business evolves. When your branding is authentic, when it reflects your personality, values, and strengths, it naturally resonates with the right people. It draws in clients who feel aligned with your approach and who are excited to work with you. And the best part? A brand that's true to you isn't just easier to create, it's also easier to maintain. When you don't have to force yourself to be someone you're not, you can focus on what really matters, and that's building a business that helps your clients to thrive. So let's dive into the big question. Should you build a personal brand or a company brand? The truth is, both approaches can work beautifully, but each comes with its own set of advantages and challenges. First, let's talk about personal branding. If you've ever seen a coach whose name is the brand, like Jane Doe Coaching or John Smith Consulting, that's a personal brand. It works well if you want to be the face of your business, your clients connect with your unique story and personality, and you're planning to build your reputation as an expert through things like public speaking, writing, or hosting events. Here are some of the pros of a personal brand. It's incredibly relatable. People feel like they're hiring you, not just a service. You have flexibility to evolve without rebranding. Your name is always your name. And it can feel more natural to communicate authentically because you're just being yourself. However, there's some cons of a personal brand too. Your reputation is deeply tied to the business, which can feel like a lot of pressure. Scaling the business can be harder too if it's too closely associated with you. And if you ever want to step back from the business or sell it, that can be a challenge. So on the flip side, let's look at company branding. A company brand puts the focus on the business itself rather than the person behind it. Think names like Thrive Coaching Solutions or Elevate Group Coaching. This approach works well if you're building something bigger than yourself, like a team or an agency. You plan to sell services or products that aren't entirely dependent on you. And if you want a layer of separation between your personal identity and your business. So there obviously is some pros and cons. The pros of a company brand is it's more scalable. You can grow a team or expand your offerings without the brand being tied solely to you. It can appeal to a wider audience as it feels less personal and more professional. And selling the business later on becomes much easier because it's not tied to your name. Whereas the cons of a company brand are that it can feel less personal if you're not intentional about creating a connection with your audience. Rebranding might be more complicated if your mission or niche shifts significantly. Now, beyond the pros and cons, there are a couple of practical things to keep in mind that might tip the scales one way or another. And one is the URL availability. Imagine coming up with the perfect name only to find that the domain is already taken. And this happens more often than you think, especially with personal names. If your ideal URL isn't available, you'll need to get creative, like adding a tagline, tweaking the name slightly, or exploring alternative domain extensions. For some, this challenge alone might determine whether they go with a personal or a company brand. The other is the future sale of your business, which we mentioned. Even if selling your business feels far off or not even on your radar right now, it's worth considering. If your business is built around your name, it's much harder to step away from it later. On the other hand, a company brand is easier to hand off to someone else because it's not tied to your identity. If you're still torn, think about this. If you love connecting personally with clients, sharing your story, and being the face of your business, a personal brand might be the way to go. But if you're planning to scale or build something bigger than yourself, a company brand could give you the flexibility that you need. The good news is that neither choice is permanent. Brands evolve just like businesses do. The key is starting with what feels most aligned with your current goals and vision, knowing that you can adapt your business as it grows. For instance, when AuctionWeb started, the name made sense. It was a simple platform for online auctions. But as the business grew, it needed a name that was more memorable and versatile. Enter eBay, a name that reflected the company's broader vision, and it became a household name. Then there's Pete's Super Submarines, which began as a personal brand. Pete was literally in the name. But as the business grew and scaled globally, the founders rebranded to Subway, creating a more professional and scalable company identity. And then there's Backrub, which might sound like a quirky choice, but it was the original name of what we now know as Google. The rebrand reflected the company's ambitious mission to organize the world's information into a niche product. The key takeaway here is that these examples show that rebranding, whether from a personal name to a company name or a complete overhaul, is possible and sometimes necessary as your business evolves. So whether you're scaling, niching, or simply growing into a new phase, the most important thing is that your brand continues to reflect who you are and the impact that you want to make. So how do you decide between a personal brand and a company brand? The good news is there's no one-size-fits-all answer. It's about finding the approach that feels right for you. Let's walk through 3 key questions to help you get clear. First of all, what's your long-term vision? When you think about the future of your business, what do you see? Are you the face of your brand, speaking on stages, hosting workshops, and connecting directly with clients? Or do you envision building something bigger than yourself, a business that operates even if you step away or sell it one day? If your vision is more focused on you and your unique expertise, then a personal brand might be the best fit. But if your goal is to create something scalable and less dependent on you, a company brand might make more sense. And remember, it's okay if you don't have a crystal clear picture of the future yet. I didn't know exactly where my business would lead me when I started as Diligent Assistant. But by keeping my branding aligned with my values and goals, I created a foundation that could grow with me. So number 2, what feels most authentic to you? This one is all about the gut feeling. Do you light up at the thought of putting your name out there and being the face of your brand? Or does the idea of creating a business with its own identity separate from you feel more exciting, or maybe just more comfortable? Authenticity is the secret ingredient to a successful brand, whichever route you choose. It should feel natural and aligned with your strengths, value, and personality. A forced brand, whether personal or company focused, will always feel harder to maintain. So listen to what feels right in your gut. Question 3, what does your audience expect? Think about the clients you're attracting or that you want to attract. Are they coming to you for your unique perspective, personality, and story? Or are they drawn to the idea of working with a team, a process, or a broader company mission? If your audience is drawn to you, a personal brand might help you build that connection more easily. But if your audience is looking for a brand that feels bigger than any one person, a company name might be a better fit. For example, in my case, Diligent Assistant worked perfectly when my audience expected hands-on support from a trusted expert, whether they knew me personally or not. But as my offerings expanded to include more coaching and guiding, I knew that I needed a sub-brand, Coach to CEO, that better aligned with the expectations of my evolving audience. Here's the best part. Your decision isn't set in stone. Just like your business, your brand can grow and change over time. Many successful businesses have rebranded to reflect their growth, as we discussed earlier with companies like Subway and eBay. So don't feel pressured to make a perfect decision right now. Focus on what feels right for where you are today and trust that you can adapt as your vision becomes clearer. No matter which direction you choose, personal brand or company brand, authenticity is the key to building trust and creating lasting connections with your audience. So let's look at how to infuse your authenticity into your brand, whichever path that you take. In the case of a personal brand, when you're the face of your brand, your audience is drawn to you, your story, your personality, and your unique perspective. So here's how to make that connection as authentic as possible. You want to share your journey. Don't be afraid to let your audience in on your why. Why did you become a coach? What value drives your business? Sharing your journey makes you relatable relatable and gives your audience something to connect with. You want to be consistent in your messaging. Authenticity shines when your tone and message feel consistent. Whether you're writing a social media post, hosting a webinar, or onboarding a new client, make sure that your communication reflects who you are and what you stand for. Celebrate your strengths. Lean into what makes you unique. Are you an excellent listener, a creative problem solver? By highlighting your natural strengths, you'll attract clients who value the qualities that set you apart. With a company brand, it's easy to feel like the personal collection is lost, but it doesn't have to be that way. Here's how to keep authenticity at the heart of your business, even with a company name. First of all, you want to define your mission and values. Your brand should reflect what matters most to you. Whether it's transformation, connection, or growth, make sure your mission and values are clear and woven into everything that you do. Showcase your team or approach. If you have a team, introduce them to your audience. If not, highlight the unique methods or systems that you've developed. Even without a personal name attached, your brand can feel human and approachable. You want to create a brand culture. Think about how you want clients to feel when they interact with your business. Whether it's warmth, professionalism, or empowerment, ensure your brand culture mirrors your personality and values. Now, here's the truth. Your brand is most authentic when it feels like an extension of you. Even with a company brand, your influence and values should shine through. And if you ever feel like your brand is drifting from who you are, then that's a signal to pause, reflect, and realign. At the end of the day, your audience isn't just choosing between a personal or a company brand. They're choosing you because of the trust and connection that you create. By staying true to yourself, you'll attract the right clients and build a business that's not only successful, but deeply fulfilling. So let's recap. Whether you choose a personal brand or a company brand, the most important thing is that it feels authentic to you, true to your values, your goals, and the business that you are building. If you're still weighing your options, take some time to reflect on the 3 key questions that we covered. What's your long-term vision? What feels most authentic to you, and what does your audience expect? And remember, your brand can evolve just like your business does. You're not locked into one choice forever, and some of the biggest names out there, like Google and Subway, have shown that rebranding can be a powerful tool for growth. If you're ready to dig deeper into building a coaching business that's aligned and authentic, be sure to check out my previous vlog, True to You: Essential Insights for Fostering an Authentic Coaching Business. It's packed with strategies for embracing your unique strengths and making authenticity the cornerstone of your brand. It's the perfect companion to what we've been discussing today. Finally, I'd love to hear from you. Are you leaning towards a personal brand or a company brand? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's keep the conversation going. And of course, if you found this helpful, hit like, subscribe, and share it with a fellow coach who might be feeling stuck. Thanks so much for watching. Let's keep building businesses that don't just succeed, but feel like home. I'll see you next time.